Carolina Panthers, and you have it in the notes right here. I hope we can all agree on this. I know there's rumors out there that Harbaugh and Dave Temper, what's his name, the owner of the
David
Panthers?
Tepper.
David Tepper, whatever the hell. This the guy,
Pepper.
Jabroni is what we should call him. He's apparently had a conversation. It wasn't an interview. It was just a dinner. I mean, okay, however you want to label it. I think Steve Wilks deserves this job. I think he's done a tremendous job with this Carolina Panthers. I mean, you guys were laughing at me for even thinking the Panthers could be a playoff team before the season. And then John jumped on the bandwagon late in the season, said they can be a playoff team. Steve Wilks has done a tremendous job. This team has played with passion and fire for him. He deserves this job. And not only that fact, but how he was done in Arizona. Disrespectful. He deserves a shot in this league. And he deserves to be the Carolina Panthers head coach. I don't know if he's going to get it because of Tepper, and he really wants that splashy name. He tried to get Matt Rule, even though Matt Rule didn't do really anything in college. Now he's trying to get Jim Harbaugh, and maybe we'll talk about Jim Harbaugh. Maybe not this episode, but we'll get into him maybe when the season's over and we start getting some what job openings are going to be. But I just quick I don't think Jim Harbaugh should come to the NFL this season because I don't like any of the jobs that will be available. That's just me. But yeah, Steve Wilks deserves this job in Carolina. He deserves it.
Sorry, you go ahead first.
No, go for it, John.
I agree with you on the fact that Steve Wilks in Arizona was done wrong. He probably does deserve an opportunity. But this was the biggest game the Panthers have had in how many years? 4, 5, 6 almost. And for you to lose this game when you're so close to the playoffs, for me, Steve Wilks had to win that game to get the job. And for Wilks, this means more than any other opportunity because as a Carolina native, somebody that's really been a fixture in the organization, it just means more, as Greg Olson said on the broadcast. Or I'm not sure if it was Greg Olson. It might have been somebody else. It's more than just being one of 32. So I understand that, and there is kind of that little side story. But ultimately for the Panthers, you need to find the guy that can lead this organization. Can that be Wilks? It feels like Rich Bisaccia kind of last year, but he just didn't get the job done. So if you can get, let's say, a Jim Harbaugh here and you pay out the wazoo, right? Then yeah, I would by all intents and purposes, because the one thing the Panthers really lack as an organization is that steadying voice, because they have the talent. The offensive line and defense have come together. At this point, it's all about kind of taking the Detroit approach, where you build a high-level team in the quarterback. Is Steve Wilks the guy? To be honest with you, I think he's a safe candidate. But if I could get a more splash name, let's say like a D'Amico Ryans, I think I would consider it. With that being said, if you don't promote or at least remove the interim tag from Steve Wilks, he's gone. He's not, at least in my eyes, right? It's pure speculation. For a guy that wants this job so much, if you don't give it to him like Bisaccia, he's not staying. So there is that side of the story. Ultimately, for Carolina, I think he'd be like the second or third option for me personally.
So the real question in Carolina outside of head coach is, do you guys think Sam Darnold has earned his spot as at least to fight for the number one spot next season? Because I would say I think he's 3-2 since he's took over the starting job since Baker left. He's thrown one interception, which is so odd for Sam Darnold this whole way.
4 fumbles though, keep in mind that.
One loss. So I mean, what do you guys think? Is Sam Darnold the guy for Carolina?
Well, no, he's not. In my opinion, he's not the guy. He's what Sam Darnold is, and he can have good performances, but at the end of the day, he's going to leave you wanting more. You know what you're going to get with Sam Darnold. I think that they're probably going to give him another opportunity because they invested a second-round pick and a couple other picks in him, and he has, like I said, I gave credit. He has made very good throws. So I think they're going to give him an opportunity. I don't think he's the long-term answer. No.
So he's an unrestricted free agent this offseason. If I'm Carolina, I'm not throwing a parade for trading the 3 picks to get him. You have Matt Corral, who missed all this season with a Lisfranc injury. Can you go into next season with your top 2 quarterbacks being Matt Corral and Sam Darnold? I'm not sure. That's a great question to have for the new head coach here, who's going to have to be really talked into this job. So, with that being said, I look at Darnold. We know the talent is there. He's not an elite talent. The issue has always been turnovers, decision making, and accuracy. And I still feel like the turnovers are an issue to some extent. Though he only has one pick, he has all the fumbles, and that does not help his case. And it's also a small sample size. We saw with Geno Smith, it took him 7 years to really have that transformative season, but who knows what Geno's going to look like next season? Because these last couple of weeks, he's taken a step back. I think the bigger question here is, what would you pay Sam Darnold? For me, I'm giving him the Mitch Trubisky contract and not much more. It should be like 2 years, $15 million. I'm not paying him more than $10 million because in this stage of his career, I feel like he's shown the flashes, but there's no consistency, and hence he's a backup quarterback.
I think he's a pretty good backup quarterback. Somebody who can come in there and provide a little stability. Somebody who's not going to be that, like people don't want a Baker Mayfield as the backup or a Cam Newton or a Tebow just because of their personality. Sam Darnold, you're not going to have that problem. He's, a quiet kid. And that was actually one of the problems of being a leader of a franchise. You being quiet, you better be like Kawhi freaking Leonard and ball the hell out if you're going to be a quiet leader. Or a Kevin Durant, you better be a quiet, ball out if you're going to be that way. So I think, but listen, Sam Darnold is a good backup quarterback and provides you stability. So if you want to go in with him, I just looked at it. Right now, Carolina is slotted as the 9th pick, I guess, in the draft, they would say. So they still have a top 10 pick. There's some teams that obviously want quarterbacks. I'm not very high on the quarterback class. Some decisions to be made. I just hope Jim Harbaugh doesn't go here because, he would have had Minnesota last year. You can't go from a Minnesota team like that to Carolina this year. It's just, oof.
I'll be honest. I feel like the only thing Carolina's really missing is the quarterback.
I agree. I feel like I don't feel like Carolina is such a bad spot to end up, and especially when what you expect to be paid, what Harbaugh we expect him to be paid, he's going to be given control of this franchise too. So he's going to have, all say of who goes where, what's coming in, what's coming out. That's going to be all on him. So I don't think Carolina is such a bad spot. But shout out to Sam Darnold. I'm not going to let you guys just disrespect him. I think bearded Sam Darnold, I think he looks very different. He's playing a different brand of football. He's only 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. This is his 5th year in the league, but we've seen people just, with the right situation, just flip a script. So, yeah, you guys see him as solely a backup quarterback. I'm not going to rule that out and say that
he's a starter.
I think he has a chance to be. I'm not going to lie. You're on mute, John.
David Tepper, according to reports, is ready to open the head coaching position and have discussions with Jim Harbaugh. Jim went to San Francisco, really helped transform Alex Smith's career, and in the process jettisoned a team that really struggled before him to Super Bowl heights. Just want to add that to that.
And then
but exactly what you mentioned, that's exactly why I mentioned Harbaugh there, because I feel like why not? Why can't he have an Alex Smith like revelation? All it takes is one head coach. You got some great weapons on the outside.
Alex and you're gonna Smith, I'm not too sure on this. John might be more clear on this. I don't think Alex Smith struggled with turnovers early in the season. Again, I could be completely wrong, but it's just, I don't know. Maybe if I was back in that time period, I would be agreeing with you, and Alex Smith would look a lot like a Sam Darnold. It's just from what I've seen with Sam Darnold, man. Why even take the chance? Even at his best, what do you think he can be? The 25th, the best quarterback in the NFL, the 24th? Like, that's not impressive or anything. He's never going to be better than Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill's a good quarterback.
I do think there's a chance that he could have a career quite like that. Like I said, it's all about situation. If I rewinded the clock back to 2019, at the end of the season, Jets fans and NFL fans were more optimistic on, hey, Sam Darnold doesn't look that bad. He looks like there's some promise there. The problems with him was also injuries that he hasn't completed a full season. So you want to see that out of the guy, but I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, from what I've seen from him in Carolina to close out this season so far, I think they're 3-2 with him under center. They don't look bad. He looks pretty good. He looks like a different quarterback. I don't feel like this is the same Sam Darnold that we were watching last season. Him forcing the ball into tight coverage or making these terrible decisions, because he just went pound for pound with Tom Brady this past Sunday. Oh, I don't think we would have been saying that about Sam Darnold the year before that or any year before that. I feel like this is a different guy.
I like what you said, because for a long time, the Panthers, to me, and this is not disrespect to Ron Rivera necessarily, but I feel like for the last like 5 years they've kind of built up this team more and more. And a couple of years ago, the roster is not good. But now we're at a stage where if Carolina were to hire Jim Harbaugh and he develops Sam Darnold into like a top 25 quarterback, dude, let's say he takes like a miniature Geno Smith like arc. Geno Smith this year was a top 10 quarterback, but with the way Sam Darnold's played, can he throw for 25 TDs, limit the interceptions above 15 and 35 to 4,000 yards or 3,500? Absolutely. And given you have a pseudo number one receiver in DJ Moore, pretty good running game, develop an offensive line, and much improved defense, that's not much improved, but it's stepping up. There's a realistic case next season the Panthers can be in the same exact position, and they're showing this year wasn't a fluke. And they're actually building off that, and maybe they take a jump like a Jacksonville. With the way Doug Peterson's come in and really helped Trevor Lawrence, I think this Panthers team is just more balanced. So it's honestly a pretty good opportunity for a coach like DeMeco. DeMeco, I think maybe he's a better assistant. I feel like he should hold himself to a higher standard and a better organization. But for Jim Harbaugh, I feel like he'd be the right offensive guy to save this place. I feel like he would be the right guy to save Sam Darnold's career, and that career arc and that story would be awesome. For DeMeco, I don't think necessarily be the perfect fit for him.
Well, I mean, that's all up to Harbaugh. I mean, when Harbaugh comes in, he's going to rule the team with an iron fist. So it's really going to be up to if he wants Sam Darnold as quarterback. Because if he doesn't, Sam Darnold's not going to be his quarterback.
I don't know if he wants the GM control. I think that's just speculated.
And then that's also up to Tepper. Is Tepper willing to give up power? Because you're going to have to give up power. That was the whole reason he left San Fran, Jim Harbaugh. The front office and the execs were just like, can't deal with him anymore. He's too much of a headache. That was the one time, I guess, winning didn't solve everything.